Genshin Impact stream. I don't wanna edit my. Oh, definitely did not work there. Okay. Absolute Cinnabon. Just gonna get started here. Damn, that was a long Archon quest, wasn't it? That was crazy long. Man, I recorded all basically like almost 100 gigs yesterday. Damn, son. Damn, son. What is going on? Right. We are gonna get our conquest set up here so we can do a bit of a recap. So let's do pop out chat. Close this. Pop out here. We're actually gonna close these two. And we'll go in here. Yeah. Oh, I guess. Do I use video or let me see? Thanks for the look, Vane. Let's see here. Highest saver and check. Hey, welcome in, Jackson. How are you doing? It's a happy MLK Day, our great holiday today. Thanks to the late Dr. Martin Luther King. So we're just doing a little recap stream where we can sort of just go back and forth the Archon quest and just talk about how crazy it all was. Oh my gosh. We spent like a whole 9 hours yesterday just doing it. It's kind of wild. Watch an hour if I go to bed. Heavy. I'm okay. I ain't celebrating that in Germany. People said, well, sorry you don't have a holiday today, but I bet Germany in general does have more holidays than we do here in America. So I'm sure you guys will make up for it at some point later down the line of the year. So just gotta hang in there. But yeah, appreciate you coming in and hanging out. Did you finish the Archon quest, Jackson? Just making sure, because we're probably going to talk a bit of spoilers. German Unity Day and some religious days, sure. Okay. Unity Day, I'm guessing is okay. So that's when that commemorates the fall of the Berlin Wall, right? I'm guessing East and West Germany. I'm guessing that's what Unity Day means. I did finish it on patch release day. Damn, you early. Meanwhile, me struggling here. The funny thing is, Brushy told me it was going to be 6 hours. Ended up taking 9 hours. I'm like, spent basically all day yesterday. It started at 1:30 and ended at 11:30. Well, ended at 10:30. Yeah, the fall of the wall. Nice. 6 hours if you are skip chat, probably. Brushy probably be skipping. I gotta listen to all the dialogue. You know, the dialogue's all really great. Like there were a few like really nice moments. I remember like I will say from the very beginning, like this section, it starts a little bit slower, but then you immediately go into sort of this action sequence, right? With you immediately go into this action sequence with infiltrating the lab right here. And I wish they had expanded a little bit more about like the lore and how Dottore like actually, you know, created the his artificial moon and stuff. I feel like they didn't do a very good job explaining that. Um, and they could have put a lot more like lore pieces around here. I don't think I missed anything, but there weren't any like investigation spots in this lab that really went into how he created that artificial moon. I did dislike that they make up some shit. You never see any repercussions. What were some of the stuff you didn't like about it, Jackson? I think there was the oh, I remember there was one. So when Sendrone tells people that like, oh, the Tory put a curse on each of us that we cannot leave Nod-Krai, right? I think that was like at some point like after this sequence here. So Traveler gets captured. Um, we get a bit of this. Maybe it's slightly before this. No. So we do see, yeah. So around this point, I think Sandrone shows up at this point. Yeah, right about here, and she tells us like she put a curse on all of us, and it was never really followed up. Um, and to be honest, like the only one who even can detect this curse is like Sandrone herself. So to me, it feels a little bit like she could have just made it up, which is what I was suspecting actually. Ah man, the Tory cursed us. At this point in time, like Sandrone just sort of comes in and says, "Oh, only Polonia can scan you guys." Right, and then she basically tells us, "Oh, none of us can leave Nod-Krai for some reason." And I felt like it was a bit more just like a plot point, so that Mihoyo could explain why nobody could leave Nod-Krai. Like, why they couldn't just like, oh, let's just leave Nod-Krai and you know go fight it from outside Nod-Krai rather than like stay in Nod-Krai. So I felt like that was a bit of a leap, logical leap there. They just had to like come up with some excuse. Papa without core could die. Oh no, those are the main offender first. The Papa one was it was yeah, I guess like it didn't really pay off because like he wasn't really at any risk, and like we knew from the beginning like you know it was gonna be fine, right? Like Wanderer was gonna be fine from just knowing that you know the game's not gonna kill off Wanderer anytime soon. Like so it definitely didn't like hit. Like they did spend quite a bit of time like trying to sell like oh Wanderer has really changed and he's like willing to sacrifice himself now um to some extent, and like his what the argument was like, oh, if you take the core out like he might have a soft like a hard reset or something, which honestly doesn't mean he dies, right? It just means like or like if there's a glitch or something and then his core um you know gets messed up and then he like he won't be able to restart or something. I think that wasn't explained very well. It would have been better if they explained it in a way that like you know like maybe the doctor could have gotten a hold of it and like corrupted the core. I think that would have been a more like believable sort of like quote unquote consequence if like Wanderer like wants to like risk his life sort of. I think that would be more reasonable. Like oh like like there's a risk that the doctor can like find out and then like destroy the core or something. I think that would be more believable than like just Sandrone messing up her calculations. But I also found that the moon goddess kept saying, so what's the XYZ thing? So that's what that thing XYZ is called in the future. Wait, which XYZ thing? Oh, you mean like the whenever he mentioned something like I remember like this scene. So like whenever Columbina mentions like things like the heavenly principles, right? And then I think Columbina calls it the heavenly principles, and like, oh, so that's what he's called in the future. The War of Funerary Flames, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, you don't name a war until like after the war. I thought that part was okay, and the heavenly principles as well. I think makes sense because they that happened after the war, right? Um, like it kind of makes sense that he wasn't named the heavenly principles before the war, and neither was the war. Like the war itself, a lot of the wars always get named in post, right? Like even in real life. So I think that part I'm okay with. Like I feel like even generally like in human society, people will refer to the war as just like the war. Yeah, just funny story writing in my eyes. It was definitely interesting. But I was really hyped that we actually got to see the Moon Sisters, except for them to just immediately die after. I'm like, it's kind of scammed, guys. Mihoyo, where's my Moon Goddess waifu banner? Where's my Sonnet banner? Hoyo, I need my Sonnet banner. Usually you try to mix things up and not repeat yourself. Was it maybe did you play it in a specific language, Jackson? Was it maybe like that translation that made it sound weird? I didn't think it was. I think they only did it twice. It wasn't like too bad. And at least in the Japanese, I can't tell. They didn't sound like they were very repetitive. They live on in Colombia and I play English sub and GP dub. Okay. Well, I would say like their powers live on in Colombina. I don't know if their character and personalities do though. I think those probably fade away. So to the extent like the Trilune goddesses like still have the power and the authority within Colombina, but as far as their like characters and like appearances, it's probably like gone. It's all gone. Rip. You never be able to wish for Sonnet anymore. But it was a huge surprise for me, like, cause, cause remember these Moon Sisters are like, dude, like since like what was it like 1.x or something? Like people had already like uncovered like the lore from the books that like oh there are like three moon goddesses, Aria, Sonnet, and Canon. And there wasn't really a mapping. Nobody knew which one was connected to which of the moons quite yet. I'm slowly catching on how much JP Dub loves punny language. Punny language. Yeah, if there are certain jokes definitely in the lines that you don't really get unless you hear it and listen closely to the to like the names of things and how they like connect those words. And then when they try to translate the joke in English, it's like you completely lost. Like you can't even tell what's going on. It's just like why did they say this in a weird way in the English? But actually, it's because they're trying to follow like a pun in the Japanese or in the Chinese. I feel like I feel like this scene was really cool though. Like the fact like they all had like these moon things behind them, and like they each had their own like personalities. I thought it was really cool. Um, and everyone was basically like hoping to see some like get some lore for the Moon Sisters. End up they just like straight up just gave us the Moon Sisters directly, which is like huge. So I think that's really cool. I think that's this, and and they had like full models. Like look at this. Like they have full adult female models. Sure, like they repeated some of the uh costumes, and not the costume, like the clothing and stuff. Um, but we get all three of them, and they're in full like Moon Sister glory. Like it's like a very unique like art and like character design for each of them. Like they don't really look like any other character that we've seen before, right? Maybe like in other Hoyo games, perhaps, but like not in Genshin. Yeah, the iridescent moon was a big surprise. Personally, I expected gloomy, edgy. Oh, okay, because it's like Arlecchino's moon. Yeah, I guess they kind of do explain it a little bit later when like the iridescent moon gets corrupted by Abyss and then becomes more like gloomy. The other thing I did notice a lot was that like the Moon Sisters call Columbina Hyposelenia always, but in the English like they keep translating it as Columbina, but it's very clear that the Moon Sisters call her Hyposelenia than anything else. So I thought that was an interesting difference that between the English and the Japanese. It was very apparent because I kept hearing Hyposelenia and reading like Columbina, and I'm like, that's not the same thing. JP is more formal, yeah, I guess. If you think of Hyposelenia as like her last name, I guess. And it was also like English uses like Columbina chan. No, it was also interesting that like they like I don't know what I don't know if it comes out in the English. I don't think it comes out in English, but in the Japanese, there's a clear hierarchy, right? Where like Sonnet is the youngest sister, and then the other two are like the older sisters. Um, you can tell it very easily in the Japanese because like she calls them like ane, or like the older sister word. Um, so I also found that interesting because initially we would think like, oh, the the Moon Sisters were basically created at the same time, right? But they actually were created in an order. So that's also interesting to note. Like some of them are older than the other ones. They only mentioned it once in the beginning in the English. Ah, I see. Maybe like when they first introduced, like, here are my older sisters. Our young sister tends to yap a lot. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah, but in Japanese you hear the age difference like pretty clearly throughout, and the way like they sort of carry themselves. The I would say like I definitely like that nuance, and it does feel a bit like, if I'm not mistaken, Sogetsu, which is the Frost Moon, the Frost Moon sister canon, is probably the oldest because that's how she carries herself. Um, JP finds honorifics very important, which is just a culture thing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, and it's like part of the language, I guess. But it's definitely interesting that there is like a distinction there, because they could have made them all three of them like just the same age, right? And like, but apparently not so. Like they wanted to have a clear distinction. Like some of these are older, even though they're technically created at the same time. There's a very clear like hierarchy. I find it harder to be foul mouth as well in JP than other languages. I guess that makes sense. Because you can actually be foul mouthed in Japanese simply by not using honorifics, right? And in other languages like Korean as well, by simply like not adding the honorific at the end of your sentence, you're already being like rude and foul mouthed. So you don't really need to try very hard to add like bad words in your language to get to a point where you're being rude to people. There's a much lower bar. Oh, I guess I would say like there's a much higher bar for like um for being respectful. So like it's very easy to miss that bar, even if you use this exact almost the exact same words. You don't have to learn any new like crude or crass language to be disrespectful. You just have to use casual language in front of your seniors, and that will get you in trouble already. But I really like this scene, and there were a few parts here too, like um from from the point where we started realizing that she was like going back in time, right? I think even as early on as early on as here. Let me see. Yeah, even as early on as here, right? Like when she started writing the script, like my mind was thinking like, wait, she's definitely like going back in time, so she's not at the same time as like Never. But at this point, like I was already thinking, wait a sec. So if she's going all the way back, she's gonna basically go all the way back to the point of like when like the moon goddesses were born, right? And that means like all the weird stuff that has happened in like Act 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6 that look generally gold were probably her. And so at this point, like I was thinking like, wait, she probably like created that force field that like stopped the bits of the laser from hitting Hisi Island and the Frostmoon Silence. Um, and then going back even further, like I think it was at this point when she I think at one point like she mentions like Kuvaki and then her powers, and then they were like, wait a sec, there's no Kuvaki in Nod-Krai, and I was like, oh, Columina is the source of Kuvaki, obviously, because it's like it's all moon and goddessy. So obviously she had to like somehow bring down, pour out her powers on top all of Nod-Krai. So I thought it was a really nice way to wrap the whole story. Um, how about casual language? Kuso, Gigi, Baba is the only bad things I know. Gaki, Yatsu, kono Yatsu. Yeah, they did rap at the end. I was in tears in several end parts. Yeah, it was really good. Um, and I think they delivered Colomina pretty well, all the way towards the end. Um, I mean, at the end, like there was some like glitchy thing as well. Like we were not entirely sure if like Dottore like actually did, or if some fragment of him survived. I mean, it's probably likely to be the latter. But whether or not he survived, he's probably inactive for a while. Like he's probably out of commission for a while. No matter what. And I would expect that even if he comes up again at some point, like we probably won't be fighting him again. He'll probably just be like eliminated by some other character or like just eliminated off screen somehow. Bro just got widescreen, we know nothing. We didn't get the thing is that we didn't get a confirmation of his death. Like we don't see a body, right, at the end of it. We just see him getting blasted and maybe like supposedly evaporated. But we do know from like past interactions with the Torre that he has the ability to have clones and you know may have had a backup plan at some point in time and set something up. So that's entirely a possibility, I think. I think Sinora was a pile of ash. Yeah, Sinora like okay, they actually had like a whole funeral that happened. They're probably not gonna hold a funeral for the Torre. um, so we may never know. At least not in the near future. Um, but my guess is that this is pretty much the last of him that we'll ever see in a significant way. If he comes up later as a single in another plot point, I doubt we will have another whole like weekly boss to like beat him or again or anything like that. If anything, he might merge his consciousness with the abyss and then we fight the abyss or something. That's possible. Um, that like we don't fight him exactly, but he like merges with another enemy entity and then we fight that enemy. That's more possible, but I don't see us like they wouldn't rehash the same weekly boss fight a second time. So I think for the most part we're safe. The Tori is probably down for the count for at least a year or so. unlikely that Dotori will be more than a memory flashback. Nahida took care of him during Sumeru. Yeah, he did. She did destroy the clones, right? But the deal, but it didn't stop. That doesn't stop Dotori from creating more clones. The deal was only for him to like destroy all of his clones at that point in time, and it has been several years since then. So it is possible that he might have created a clone of himself again, a new one, at some point between then and now, or even using his god powers to like you know create a clone of himself that maybe is still somewhere in Snizhnaya or something hiding out. So I think that's still possible. I wouldn't rule that out entirely. Um, but I would also say like if he has any clones, probably just one more left. That he probably most recently made. May not be a perfect copy of him. May still be a young version of Dotori. I don't know. Um, I kind of forgot the pact between Nahida and Dotori. I think Nahida basically like Dotori was trying to get the gnosis from Nahida, and I think the pact was that he basically like had to like leave Sumeru alone, um, and and like get rid of all of his other clones in the process for him to get the gnosis. And there was a scene of him like destroying all of his other clones somehow. Um, and then it's also interesting because like he did mention that his clones are not exactly the same as him in the sense that like they each of his clones has their own like can have their own motivations and their own goals. Um, so there's that part of it. So if we do see Dotori again, it won't be Dotori, but it'll be like one of his clones. Um, so in a sense, it's less that he's controlling many clones. It's more like he just made clones of himself that just have his own have each of them have their own agendas. And so if he created another clone of himself, that clone just gonna have their own agenda. It's not quite the same as the Tory that we killed, essentially. Or quote unquote killed. I guess Columbina did blast him. We don't know if he actually died or anything. Um, but the little glitch at the end does sort of hint at that a little bit because that's basically like the same area where he was taking the traveler to, right, in Nasha Town and creating this like simulated Nasha Town with the exact same spot where that glitch happened. So it might be hinting towards the fact that like some part, whether or not he's alive, at least some part of his influence is still somewhere on the world. You might have to clean that up at some point. Yeah, but they did the whole moon's reflection part really well. Like even early on, they teased it very early on in the teaser where they said like the the water in the future reflects the past or something, and that's exactly like what happened with the moon's reflection. They teased this line very early on, and people were like wondering whether the moon was gonna hit to the past. The idea was that time was reflected in the moon in the water's reflection in the moon. Um, so I thought that was really cool. Like reflected in the sense not just that you can see it, but reflected as in like you flip the progression of time in the moon's reflection, and then basically allow Columbina to fulfill her own prophecy, essentially. Question mark. It's basically what happened. So I thought that was super neat. It was really neat to tie all that together, and you can really tell like they spent like a whole year writing this because that's basically how long it took to write. But everything had to be planned out way in advance, like way early on, to set up all of that. I think another thing they didn't explain too much, and it probably was cut, right? Like there was a lot more that they could have explored with the Doctor's experiments. Like when Albedo and Wanderer and Durin, I think maybe just Albedo and Durin, when they were like exploring when they were exploring the what is it, the energy fields, and they noticed that there were like people in there who were like became like had their consciousness swapped into animals. We didn't really get much closure as to like what happened after that. Like, did the energy fields go away? Um, what happened to the people left over? Did they just like were they all dead? I mean, they were probably all dead, but there wasn't a resolution like where like, oh, they managed to round up the survivors or stuff like that, or they didn't really uncover exactly what the experiment was about or what was it intended to do. It was just the Tori is a mad scientist. He conducts mad experiments, but like to me, like even mad scientists, right, have like a goal, right, and they're probably trying to like actually test something. They're not just experimenting for fun, right? There's typically like a goal of why like he's trying to swap human and animal consciousness, and things like that. So it would have been cool if like we had a little bit more of that. Columbina being stuck in a similar situation like your sibling was intriguing, but it looks next to impossible to replicate. Yeah, this was something was just one of those BS makeup things. He's so evil, watch out. And the part where I want to say the part where they were also like talking about, oh, it's they definitely did like try to make us worry a lot of times, and like it turned out to be a nothing burger. Like the whole like, oh no, never, if you look too far back in the past, you'll go blind. It's like, it's okay. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to sacrifice my eyes. Goes in like completely unscathed. Like, not doesn't your eyes don't even hurt. Like, bro, come on. Like, bro, don't make such a big fuss about this, man. uh, and then I also felt a little bit like towards the end, like every time like they say like, oh, we're gonna give you a bit of like traveler lore, and like we did get a bit of the spaceship. First of all, we didn't even get to go inside the spaceship. Lumine went in on herself by herself, and then like, oh, I got a new outfit, and like, oh, I checked some travel logs. Like, we didn't get to see the logs. We didn't even get to see inside of the spaceship. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on, Hoyo. It's literally right there. Like the spaceship was literally right there. And as a player, I couldn't even see a door that I could enter the spaceship into. It was just like it's like this like little orb thing in the middle, and like, yeah, you can barely like fit a person in there, by the way, based on this model of a spaceship. So they could have done a better job there. My big worry is that their twist for the traveler is not going to be very impressive at the end of the day. They're just gonna hand wave it and like, oh yeah, we're just travelers, and ooh yeah, something something sibling, ooh. The whole special thing was just convenient plot insertion and for what? Yeah, exactly. It didn't tell us anything like specifically new. Like, sure, the spaceship passed before, but we kind of already knew that. Like the fact that like like Ether was like already around. I mean, we don't even know if like time is even linear anymore, right? Like once you go into space, um, like whether or not it passed, and like it just felt a little bit like a, oh, here's your spaceship, but it would have been cooler if we got to actually see the spaceship. Then maybe like there's some progress and we get investigate like more notes in there. And she's talking about flight logs that were corrupted as well. Like, can we like at least see some of those, or like some traces of like, or some answers of like, maybe Lumine gets flashbacks as to like what actually happened in the spaceship or what happened before they were in the spaceship, right? I think that's the thing that most people want to know. It's not so much about like what they did in the spaceship because they were just sleeping. It was like, where were they before the spaceship? And I would think like the spaceship has logs about that, right? Like, when was it manufactured? What technology was it being used at? Like, when was the first flight, right? So like I feel like that was a bit of a wasted opportunity there. Like, whoa, look at our vehicle. Yeah, we got this cool ride just to show you for nothing. And like, oh, by the way, yeah, Heavenly Principles hid it on the moon for I don't know what reason. And we're just gonna leave it at that. Like, okay. So he's just gonna steal the entire spaceship, put it on the moon, and just leave it there and question mark? Like it's just so weird. Like I think the big clue there at least that is that Heavenly Principles probably knows enough about their origins that he knew to even hide it in the first place, so there might be a connection there. So we'll see. I'm still not like completely 100% bought into the whole Descender thing. Like I don't really like where like the whole oh, I'm very special because I'm a Descender feel like literally all you did was like came from another planet. Okay, like you're not that special. Okay, there are probably like millions of beings from other planets that are not from Teyvat. I just want to fast forward to the situation that got explained in Mona's Hexera homework. Oh, I don't think I've done that one yet because I don't have Mona, unfortunately. Get the door open with actual star colors and get rid of the firmament, the door to Kanria. Oh, you mean the Sumeru door? Yeah. Get rid of the false one. Yeah, the Kanria door in Sumeru, that one's definitely worth opening. I mean, to an extent, like the false guy. Sorry, you don't have to. It's not big spoiler. I think a lot of it is also like revealed before. In past like Mona events as well. Like we always talk about the false guy and dividing the stores. Um, but I feel like the like when we actually like got up to the moon, I wasn't entirely sure whether they were in the false sky still or they were like outside of it. Cause like from this angle, right, like all the way at the end, this was a by the way, this was a really nice sequence. Like this 2D like walking through like all this art is so cool. Oh, I need to call out Seth Jones for being MVP here, by the way. I hope we get to see her again. But like this scene here, right? Trying to find like a better. Look at this. Like when we're on the moon and we're like looking at the I don't know, is that the sun? I'm guessing that's the sun, pretty far away. Like are we still in the fall sky or have we like sort of like bust through it at this point? Um so this is the only part that I'm not like super sure about, like whether yep, I started crying the storybook hallway. Yeah, storybook was really good. Like the whole like the Sandrone like Colomina saying like, "Oh, I wish I could see you again," and she even like turns around, like she spends like a second like just actually like looking at Sandrone, like she stops and then like, actually turns towards Sandrone's picture and then like, I hope this I can see you again. That was definitely very heartwarming. I found it cool that at least on the moon as well, like they changed the gravity so that you actually felt like you were on the moon. All in all, I'm kind of disappointed this whole thing was just another red herring. Yeah, this entire sequence was a bit of a red herring. It was a really nice scene though. Like this scene was like great. Like I had no problems with this scene. Like it looked really cool. Like there was like your spaceship in a crater, like overseeing, like basically confirming Tevat is round as well and not flat Earth. But hey, it sure was pretty. Yeah, at least it was pretty. But you see, there's no entrance to this spaceship. Like you couldn't enter it from any angle. There's no like doors or like I guess Lumine has a key to open it, but like there's no way that you could like interact with the spaceship beyond it just being like a random asset, right? Which is kind of sad. And I was like, could you just like go in and like ride the spaceship? Like, can we get space? Can you guys get a spaceship to ride? It seems like the spaceship is basically in pristine condition, right? It hasn't been touched. Like, looks like the engines, everything seems to be working right. There's no like broken wings or like parts or anything. It basically seems to be in perfect condition, right? besides the fact that it's lying on the ground, like it looks like it's basically in perfect condition and it can be flown, you know, as soon as you get in there and like start riding. So, so that's a bit of a. It's kind of like a. While you're on Earth, right? Like you're like, oh, it would be nice to see like what to explore all the stuff like out in the stars, right? But there's sort of like no curiosity here. Like Tevat is just like, oh, this is what happened in Tevat, but nobody really cares about what's happening outside of Tevat for some reason, except maybe the Hexen Circle. Um, it would be interesting to like, hey traveler, like, could I ride your spaceship? I'm pretty sure people would actually ask that. Path Archon spaceship is impenetrable and super sturdy. Oh yeah, they did explain a little bit that like you couldn't really get through and like normal people couldn't. But I mean, I'm Lumine and I have the key. Like I should be able to like click something and it opens for me, right? Like I literally have the spaceship key with me, so um, I should be able to get in there and like fly in it. Maybe even fly back to Tevat in it. You know, like why did we leave this on the moon again, guys? You know, like should we like bring it back down or guys? You guys just gonna leave the spaceship on the moon, or it would be nice to have. I mean, what it does feel like though, like this is going to be the Genshin 2 moment. They're going to use this guy like just flew. I don't know how. They're going to use this spaceship as like the plot device for us visiting other planets or something, or going into Genshin 2. That's what it feels like. They're probably saving it for that point, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure we'll see the spaceship again. It's still in pristine condition. Looks very rideable. Personally, I want to revisit the moon. Can you actually go back to the moon at this point? Like if you talk to Columbina or something at the end of her Selenic Chronicles. I wonder if we can actually revisit this. Maybe not this scene specifically, but just go back to the moon and like see the scene again. Yeah, they definitely did the whole Columbina arc really well though. It took a full like what 8 chapters. We even had a rare redemption arc, guys. Like we had a small little rare redemption arc in the middle of Columbina walking. We had a full rare redemption arc. Although it seems like we just left him on the dark side of the moon together with Dolindis in a very tragic state. Um, I was thinking like it might actually be possible. Dolindis is far gone, right? Like she's just a soul at this point. But Rere is salvageable. If someone can just pick him up, you know, we could get him playable. Like we actually could get him playable. And he's already been redeemed because he like realizes his mistakes and like knows that he was basically just a puppet or like a tool, and he regrets all of his actions. So no way, I haven't found. Not sure. I haven't found a way to return it. Ah, unfortunate. Rara just needed timeout. Yeah, he just needed timeout in this area. But it's I don't know. It's super possible we see him again. And like we talk a little bit about Dying Slave, right? And how like he changed his mind when he saw Dying Slave, and like he reflected on his actions, and how Dying. And then Columbina told him how Dying Slave said like you basically don't know why he like betrayed his friends, and like he was like I didn't mean to do that, and they clearly he still considers Dying Slave a friend. So I hope in the Kanria arc we get Rara back somehow. Um, it sounds a bit like now Columbina knows about the dark side of the moon, and she knows Rara's still there, right? Still trapped there. And probably the only one there at this point, because Stolindis is just a soul, and the rest of the sisters have gone. And we do know as well that she had the power to send the Moon Sisters back to Tevat for like a final, you know, final huddle before they faded away. So I think it is entirely possible Columbina finds some way to get Rira out, um, at some point. Because I mean, she was literally the one who opened the door to fling him in, right? So there, there's definitely a threat where like Columbina is able to pull him out at some point. And I could see Rere being pretty important in unraveling the secrets of the rest of Conria and what was going on with the Vinster King, um, and all of that. So I think he can play. I think there's a really good opportunity for River to play a very important role in the Conria arc. Um, so and the fact that he has like a dedicated voice actor who has appeared on the Genshin Japanese radio show, there's a good chance we still hear from him again. I think I have like no real emotional attachment to the Moon Goddesses or River. Yeah, I wouldn't say like it's like emotional attachment for me. It's just more of like this is a story thread that they could really pick up. Kind of like me doing, they just place something into the world. I think the Moon Goddesses for me were cool because they specifically like were teased very early on, and a lot of people just wanted their lore. And we didn't just get their lore; we got like literal full waifu versions of the Moon Goddesses. So that was big. But yeah, I agree that there's not enough of a story from the Moon Goddesses birthday. Rarer, I can feel a bit more of an emotional I wouldn't say attachment, but like more of an emotional anchor, I would think, like to his character, because we did do like a full like story quest. We didn't have like a full story quest for like the Moon Goddesses. So those were a bit more like, okay, it's cool to see your design, but too bad you guys are gonna be dead in a couple of minutes. Since Durin can be reborn, anybody else could? Well, maybe. Wasn't Durin only able to be reborn because of the whole storybook idea and like M basically writing him. Oh, and also like the miracle of like Albedo being able to transmute him into the world. I think that too, right? Like it was a combination of a lot of Mage's powers to get him to be reborn. So I don't think it's like easy by any chance. Maybe it is possible, but I don't think like the other I don't think like the other like moon goddesses can be like recreated in the same way. That might be a bit difficult. I mean, I guess the most plausible way I can see the moon goddesses returning is Nibelung Nibelung basically like resummoning them or like recreating them somehow. If Nibelung's I think was defeated and long destroyed. But if at some point like he comes back, like I feel like that's the only way for them to be reconstructed. Or someone as strong as Nibelung, right, can reconstruct them. Find a vessel and conduit to bring them over. But they're dead. Like their bodies literally faded away though. They don't like the only thing left of them is their authority, right? So like and their power. So like maybe like there's some memories of Columbina that you could like use to create some kind of life through Rhine. But it wouldn't like to me it wouldn't really seem like we brought them back, but more like we recreated new versions of them, which maybe is good enough. Just create new versions of them because they did, but you know, at some point they were created, right? So and so were the shades. Mini Durin also had no actual body. They used Durin's heart though, right? They used Durin's heart, like the evil Durin's heart, and human puppets are a thing. Yeah, they could put like a puppet like the like Wanderers, supposedly Conrian technology in there. But my feeling is that they probably don't want to bring the moon goddesses back if they ended them so quickly, and it is kind of sad though. It would be nice if we actually got the moon goddesses back, but it's okay, we got Columbina. I do think like if they were to bring anyone back, it'd probably involve Hex and Zircle wizardry though. It's really hard. I think the other thing is that they did give us a bit more insight into like what Wanderer is made of, right? Like the Conrian technology plus a stem from Ermin's soul. I think you're muted, Saber. Am I muted? Am I muted? I'm still talking though. I don't think I'm muted. My mic seems to be coming through. Uh, I think I can hear myself as well. Everything went mute. You mean just for a second, or? Well, I can hear myself on the stream. Yeah, I'm stupid. Forget about it. Sometimes you misclick like the mute button and it happens, but it yeah, I seem to be stream seems to be working for me. So let's see, we're going here next. Dun, 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 dun. I do have to call out Paimon's JP voice actress though, the great Koga Aoi. Like she did this scene super well. Like with Paimon crying and stuff. I know she always cries, but like I think this was like she had some pretty complex lines to say while having to sound like very worried and sad, and I think she delivered really well here. Yo, hey, welcome in, Brushy. How are you doing? We're just doing some recap of the Archon quest and talking about what we liked and didn't quite like. Anyway, we have a powerful being in Marijivari still. Oh, you mean the Bakunawa guy? Did we defeat him, or is he still there? Extract this power and make up some random character on the spot. That's a good idea, actually. Mihoyo will probably use that idea. Boom, we have a Genshin patch. Hiya, Brushy. True, true, true. We can just create new characters on the spot. I mean, we're probably gonna get Sandrone, right? Like at some point this patch. I know we killed off Sandrone. I mean they sort of quote unquote killed off Sandrone, but because she's a mech, she doesn't technically die. She's just a core, and you just put a core. You know, here's a thought, guys. We put Sandrone's core in like some random like Fontaine guard dog, and then we release Sandrone as a character. You pull this little guard dog artificer mech called Sandrone. You can defeat that monster in Mario Jabari several times. Oh, okay. It respawns and drops lore. Oh, really interesting. You know, Magu Kenki drops Marionette Core. Oh wait, now that you think about it, maybe it does actually. Maybe it does actually say Marionette Core. This one, right? Yeah, it does say Marionette Core. Lamals. Easy. So we can make a whole army of Sandrones at this point since we have multiple Marionette cores. Come on, Sandrone. I will say, okay, the one part that I didn't really like about the Sandrone segment was they didn't really explain the whole like, oh, we're calculating fate thing very well. Like I didn't really understand the link between like how like Marionette's calculations somehow affects their ability to pull the moon down from the false sky. Like that felt a little bit like, did you like what did your calculations actually do here? Did you just like calculate the exact time that the moon needed to be pulled down, or like what were you what were you actually calculating, and what was the practical like effect of that calculation? You know, like I've seen better stories on DeviantArt than Genshin has sometimes, Lamau. I looked up a video about it and it sort of made sense. Oh, really? Because I kind of felt like they they didn't explain that very well. And while it was interesting to learn about the whole like, oh, calculation of fate and like they were doing the whole. I think they spent quite a bit of time too with Sandrone talking about like the the circles, the different circle drawings that she was doing, and she was like supposedly trying to engineer some kind of connection. Uh, but I don't think it came through like the end story very well. Like at the end of the day, it was just being a calculation that was being done within Polonia, and for some reason, like that somehow triggered like the moon, like the signal for like when it's about 90%. Okay, Varka and Arlecchino start pulling, and they start pulling, and they're like, and then like, oh, the calculation is complete. Then suddenly, boom, we get Columbina appearing, and like I felt like there was a physical connection that was missing somehow. You know, the story left me with the impression that somebody already did a calculation before Fontaine, and Sandrone picked them up and refined them. Right, and I get I get that piece. He did a calculation. I think he failed sometimes. Sandrone basically, I think it was basically like Rene had some calculations, and like Alain Guillotine also had some calculations, but Alain didn't really like Rene's work, so he never incorporated it into them. And then Sandrone basically figured out a way to like connect those two like ideas together, and something having to use Wanderer's core as the source, as the CPU, as the GPU CPU of this calculation. Something, but I there's no link. But they didn't link it at the end. That was the, I think the main issue was they didn't link the calculation of the formula to something that actually happens in like Tevat, like what actually happened, and it didn't really explain it. They just said once the calculation is done, you can summon Columbina. Like, okay, we're just not gonna ask any questions about that. NVIDIA RTX 5090 Ti Wonder Edition. That's right, exactly right. That's exactly what was going on. Or like more like NVIDIA RTX 5090 Erminsul Edition Wanderer. And yeah, this was the part that I thought Sandrone was like just messing with them. Like um they talk about this curse, and then never again it gets brought up beyond having the excuse of like, oh, I need to remain in Nod-Krai because apparently there's a curse and I can't leave Nod-Krai or something. So did the curse disappear after we defeated Dotare? I'm assuming, or are they still cursed? They're just all gonna have to live in Nod-Krai from now on. That would actually be pretty funny. Imagine all of them just has no choice but to live in Nod-Krai now. Now that the curse, apparently the curse is permanent. You look up the Kabbalah. Apparently, the top part represents divinity and the bottom part represents human world. Moving down the pathway means bringing divinity back to the human world. Therefore, completing a pathway, as Marinette said, means finding a way to bring Columbina back into the physical world. I think that's definitely sounds familiar. Like the circles at the bottom and at the top, right? I think that makes sense. But again, it's not really explained. I mean, figuratively and symbolically it was explained, but it was not like, well, actually no, it wasn't even explained figuratively and symbolically. Somebody had to actually like look up the roots of these like random circles. If you remember the progress bar, it moved to the bottom. Yeah, it did it start from the bottom or move to the top? I don't know. It was actually from left to right. They didn't angle it this way where you can see the top and the bottom. They angled it this way and it went from left to right instead. And sure there's a symbolism about like there's like the divine and the earth in those like circles. A lot of the alchemic circles are actually like that. Like it's somehow like using like divine power in order to do things in like the physical world. A lot of the transmutation circles and like the even the stuff that Albedo uses has a lot of like connections to like these I don't want to say like I don't want to say like specifically religious because some of these are Gnostic as well. Um, but a lot of these like traditions have like all these like divine and like earthly symbols in them. So I get that part, but like they still didn't explain it though. Like, like sure, there's this symbolism, but you still have to explain that, like how this somehow this formula that you connected somehow affected a reality, and that part was not explained at all. Like just the connection was not there. You can't just say like you made up a formula. Like I turned on my PC and I calculated something in on my CPU, but unless you actually do something with that calculation, like nothing actually happens in the real world. So the connection I think was what was missing. The whole Dragon Spy 1.1 event, we found out every being in Tibet has purple residue in their bodies except for the Traveler. Just another red herring. Was it purple? Was it purple residue? Or was that just a way to not show blood? There's definitely like this thing of like in video games you can't show like red blood, and then they have to use like a different color so that it doesn't seem so it doesn't like pass the age restriction thing. It was still 90 degrees. Another thing that was confusing was that the moon got pulled under the bedeviled skies. Clearly, then later we ended up on the moon in space. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was one part that I was confused about too. So like when we go to like the moon in space, right? And that was a question I asked a bit earlier in the stream. This was a really nice scene, by the way. Like I love this like moon boat and like they're sailing on the moon boat river towards the moon. Super pretty scene. It was purple 100%. But I mean, again, right? They can't show red blood. That's the thing. Like they just can't show red blood. So like now they have to randomly explain purple blood. There's a reason we don't see red blood in a lot of places here in Genshin. It's because of the rating of the game, I think. Um, Nefer eyes. I don't know if that was it like red or just mostly like dark and like blackish brown at that point. I guess it was a bit of red, but yeah, they bled, but it didn't look like blood, right? It looked more like red mascara or something. Like they could have probably like explained it away a little bit. It's not like that crude of a depiction of blood, so they don't have to like, you know. And I'm not saying that they can't put blood, right? I think they can actually put blood, but like in maybe it's like only once in like a couple of many scenes like this one. So in this scene, like we're walking on the moon, and I'm not sure if because we pulled the moon into the false sky. I think it's what happened. We didn't pull it through the firmament, but we pulled it like into the false sky. So like the moon was like behind the false sky because it was tossed away, and we sort of like pulled it into the false sky. Because like the Tory had opened it and then it smashed through the false sky. So now it's sitting in the false sky. So I'm thinking like we are now in the false sky, right? We're inside this layer of false sky that's around Tibet. So what we're actually seeing out there is still I don't know if it's actually that we can see out of the false sky to like the rest of the universe, or if the false sky itself from within it you can't see outside. That one I'm not entirely sure of. But it sounds like when we're in on the moon in this scene, like this is part of the false sky. So like we're literally walking in the false sky area. If that makes sense. My theory is everything has a slight abyss taint, but the traveler can nullify abyss influence. Not really sure the power of yeah. Traveler can nullify abyss, and most likely because they have abyssal powers, right? They can like similar to Durin actually. Durin can also like do some stuff with abyss powers. So actually, Traveler is not the only one at this point who can do that. But they did actually also explain a bit more about the power of the Light Realm and the Abyss Realm a little bit more, right? So they did talk again about the Prism. I think it was Albedo. It might be Albedo who talks about this a little bit with when he's discussing with um when he's discussing the issue with like Sendron. They talked about the prism and how like each of Tibat's elements are like part of the light realm colors, which is in direct, I guess, contradiction against like the abyssal power. And Traveler being able to wield essentially all of the elements means that they have the ability to wield light realm power, right? Um, and then but also being able to control like abyss power, which you can tell from the Traveler's sibling, who can actually use abyssal power, right? So it does it does feel like they just Traveler's supposed to be really strong, but we're getting a very muted version of Traveler. Please give me Lunar Traveler, Hoyo. It would be ridiculous if they put a column Mina 2.0, but Abyss energy is sibling energy. Yeah, I guess the Traveler sibling would have like, because he was the one who like convinced the king about, oh, the whole Abyss power is worth pursuing. So it does make sense that Traveler sibling, in my case, it's Ether, who's gonna be like mostly using like abyssal powers. Whereas for us, because we're collecting all the elements, hopefully once we collect cryo, we can somehow put it into a prism and like some mage hex and zircle prism thing, and somehow we can control light. And I think that's the part where we will get the ability to hot swap elements with Traveler, guys. That is the point. Just you guys wait. Once we get Cryo Traveler, there'll be like one more patch. We'll go to Conria. We'll unlock Light Traveler, and with Light Traveler, we'll basically be able to hot swap elements in between combat. I was just gonna say it's supposed to look cool with the moon breaking through. Traveler can canonically swap anytime. I mean, not practically, Sag. Give me. I mean, canonically, like right, like the fact that you can talk to a statue of seven and swap, right? It's the same idea. It's just that in canon, she doesn't need to talk to the statue of seven to do it to receive the blessing. She just already has the blessing and can swap anytime she wants. I can be your angle or your double siblings. In it's kind of unfair that in cutscenes like Lumine can like literally we see where is this cutscene, like Lumine literally summons like was it this one? Oh, this Polonia dying. Okay. Oh, did we already win here? Sorry, guys. I think we already won. Sorry. Oh wait, no, it might be here. I think we actually do some fighting here. Oh, Polonia is here. Where's the scene where Traveler actually uses her pyro tornado? Was it this scene? Nope, she's just slashing here. By the way, all these cutscenes are like peak cutscene entertainment. Oh, I think it might be earlier when they were fighting with the other guys as well. This is really weird, by the way. Like, early on, it was really nice when you had like 4 people in the party, and then after that, it started getting like worse and worse to fight him because because you had like less and less elements to work with. It just really bleeds into cutscene with the death being so taboo. I think they can't. They also can't show like. They also can't really show like straight up like people getting slaughtered, right? Mostly because of the rating again. So they definitely can't do that much. Sand Drone though, like, was pretty intense. Like when they use blood, like they have to choose the blood usage very carefully. And like in this cutscene specifically, they chose to like see they chose to this is like this scene, like this is actual blood. And they managed three drops of it. Ugh, 3 drops of blood. That's oil, Lamau. 3 drops of blood, and then like more blood, and like they. The funny part is that they couldn't include the blood on the chest. They had to include like some like random wound there that's not blood. Oh well, I guess not quite blood. Clank her down. She gets flung. There goes the Pokédex. The fake one, at least. I mean, at this point, like, I was already like, this is obviously fake. They obviously had an idea, and Sandrone obviously didn't just fly to her death. Although I guess she kind of did fly to her death at the end of the day. I don't know, but anyway, she wouldn't have like jeopardized the operation by just appearing in front of the Dory. So it was pretty obvious that this was like part of the plan, all according to Keikaku at this point. Blah blah blah. But this was a great scene. Like the little thing like starts beating up again, and then he's like, wait a sec, why is it still going? Naughty. And then we have like I like this split screen. The split screen is super cool. Like you see Nicole in the middle, sort of like giving them power to like essentially pull everything down with gravity. All right, it's Tuesday here now. I really gotta see it. All right, have a good night, Jackson. I appreciate you being here. Using Kuvaki's magnetic forces. Good night. Have fun recapping. Yeah, thanks for being here. And you look at Varka, just like woof. And you can see that they're clearly using like Nicole's power to like pull down the moon here with the trifecta thing behind them. Bye. And you see the Tori like trying to fix it. Like, oh no, we're closing the false sky now. Whoops! I shouldn't have opened it in the first place. Let me close it back up. It's like, but bro, it's already too late, bro. It's already coming down. It's already too late. Why do you have a green screen? No, that's just the actual game, so that you know I'm actually playing the game and not just watching a recap. あなたのものじゃない. No, I mean some parts of the video are see-through. Oh, are they see-through? Really? Maybe it is a bit see-through. Let me see. Maybe I forgot to turn off. Oh yeah, there is a chroma key. Let me turn off chroma key. All right, this should be better. その時. Also, I sent you my yap on Discord. There's a yap on Discord. What is a yap on Discord? What in the world? All right, let's. What is this? This is a big yap. Okay, time to review yap on Discord. Where is this yap on Discord? Uh, yap on Discord. Oh, that didn't work. Let's go back here. Yap. All right, let me grab yap. I need to adjust this a bit. Yap on Discord. Actually, let me use the other one. This is I don't want to adjust this one because I want to keep this up for the scene. You can't just send yaps on Discord. You gotta like send it properly. Okay, where's this? Filters. Okay, I think this works. Okay, where's this? Okay, yap on Discord is now here. But I should prefer a letter instead, Lamau. What is this? Okay, will it play in the background? Okay, so the Yap says, so the seal of alchemical chemical marriage was a pattern given to King Remus by Sibylla Golden Bee, most likely an angel. And the symbol is most likely a world formula computation graph. They call it a sermon that can be used to extrapolate model and predict future the Yes, this is true. At the top of the seal, the three circles, probably the circles above the kingdom, which can reasonably assume is Tevat. Lore-wise, it's likely the three moons that Nibelung created to watch over the world. So this one, these three moons, okay, makes sense. The three moons connected. Blah blah blah. As an analogy, these moons can be thought of as switches or mechanisms that set things in motion, which the sermon literally says the magic is set in motion by the three. It said the three pertain to the appearance. Honestly, my best guess is just a higher level of power, or just authorization to control things like time and space, which we saw the Torre do. I guess, yeah, time, space, and something else. Supposedly the three domains that the moons control. Yeah, there's a labeled version too. Okay, so three moons and the four shades. I don't know what this mediating medium is. And the four cycles. Okay, okay. So that's why we are on cycle 4, is what you're saying. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is like Tevat has 4 cycles. There are also 4 shades, and then only 2 of these moons are connected. Maybe there's more things connected to this mediating medium, which probably is heavenly principles. Is the mediating medium. The under the 4 moons, there are 4 particles which are connected within the firmament, or the double lines is the firmament. This is the most interesting part. They said the metaphysical origin of the 3 particles lies in the emanation of the 4 particles. This means that all change in real is generated by life, death, space, and time. This forceful structure is the actual engine of Tevat. Okay. I mean, that makes sense so far. Like, I don't see. This is the intrinsic layer of causality rather than surface control. I don't know what this means. Intrinsic layer of causality rather than surface control. What's the difference between these two? What is surface control specifically? This is explicitly stated in the text. The 4 pertains to the intrinsic. So with heavenly principles, they did not rely on the moons for control, but instead changed the system by inserting parts of themselves over the engine, by effectively governing the intrinsic engine directly, because controlling the engine is far more absolute than toggling the switches like the moons do. So he basically, when he created the shades, it was like a new way of like controlling the sort of like engine of Tibet, and that basically wrests control away from the moons. I guess that makes sense. Now that the moons are gone, so that we only have the shades left, right? I guess there's still the Trilune Goddess. The circle of the diamond center is like the marriage medium and not the heavenly principles. I think it's because you can see the lines connecting the 3 and 4, and that's why it's this node. The overlap of the 2, like the sermon says, gives us 7. Yeah, so 3 plus 4 equals 7, which is like the holy number. It's number of paths for vertical transcendence is literally saying that there's 7 elements or 7 elemental authorities. Although each of the shades don't technically correspond to an element, and each of the moons probably don't either. It's not ultimate freedom, but standardized paths within the system. It's important because it says that following these emanations to become gods is a base dream doomed to perish within an eggshell. 7 are powerful but still constrained by the system, like the Archons. Yeah, that's why the moons didn't like how much the PO changed the system. I think they were saying like the PO, like he, and you were asking like who is Tenri, right? Tenri is the heavenly principles. Tenri is heavenly principles in the Japanese. Ten meaning heaven and Ri meaning principles. So Tenri was the one who created the shades, and basically like the moons were like, oh, this is an interesting system. Why don't we see what happens? And then Tenri was like, Oh no, I don't want these human civilizations to like try to become gods, and so we are gonna throw down celestial nails and like, dang it, and then like the moons regretted it, which they do say in this quest as well. Like the moons were like, yeah, we're just going to we're gonna try and stop him now, and then by that point in time, like Nibelung came back and this whole started the whole war again. And for the wheel bottle stated the number of cycles is the number of high products can now only be four. So the four hexagons are cycles within the wheel. In that one Narcissus cross, we see the sea of chemical marriage model physically with the nodes being the towers and other structures across Fontaine being anchors of these ortons. Okay, so these ones. I think they are literal attempts to project world formula onto the lens so they can survive the apocalypse like the formula predicted. So doesn't this kind of confirm the Heavenly Principles is the primordial one? I think that has already been confirmed, right? Like in Fontaine. So pretty sure that was already confirmed in Fontaine. But I mean, yeah, this is just more confirmation. There's a lot of confirmation going on here. But basically, like, no more weird lore shenanigans of like Heavenly Principles not being primordial one. Nah, it's always been too vague. Well, if it's been too vague for you, it's no longer vague anymore. It's not vague anymore. It's freaking confirmed right now. So I don't think there's any doubt right now at this point. They've reconfirmed it now. So I mean it's basically like Heavenly Principles came in, created this thing. This is still a mystery though, this mediating medium. I'm not entirely sure what this marriage thing, like what is this marriage itself and not the Heavenly Principles. But if it's not the Heavenly Principles, it's probably something that he made as well. Or maybe it's something related to like the maybe it's like the core of Tevat or something. There's probably like an inner core, and that's probably what's like operating like sort of this quote unquote engine. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of this though is, I guess it is quite a bit of like, um, now that these three moons are in one, all right, we're gonna meet the four shades. We're already on cycle four or something. That means that that actually means either number one, we're going back to a cycle one, right? Or after cycle four, Tevat ends or something, which I don't think is probably right. My guess is that it actually goes back to cycle one. So there's actually like it's a loop. There's like four different, you can call it seasons or cycles, but it doesn't just stop, right? At cycle four, it'll be hard for me to imagine that like Tevat just stops after cycle four. It probably goes back to cycle one. The median can be thought of as a node that for the marriage is the intertwining of the two different concepts. Oh, okay, okay. So maybe like a little adapter that ties in these two concepts of like generating whatever Tibat is. Someone said the overlap gives us seven, so maybe it's just a mechanism for us to get seven elemental authorities. Um, wasn't it the dragon who created the prism though, or was it primordial one? I don't remember. Was it let me bring this back up. The prism, not the prison, the prism. So, elemental powers Genshin. The one who split it was the dragon guy, right? Um, supposedly wasn't it the dragon? Oh no, actually it was before. Yeah, it was before the Heavenly Principles arrival when Phlogiston was the primordial sort of energy. The prism was an analogy. I mean, yeah, yeah, it's an analogy because we don't know exactly how he did it, but like whatever he did, right? um, the strongest elemental dragons. Let us say, where is this? Yeah. So the seven swords are creatures of the light realm, and each of them harnesses one of the. When the heavenly principles appeared, it took the seven servants' authorities for itself. So, and then he waged war against the shade and like sort of like took over the world. Um, So it does feel like the light realm already sort of like naturally had those elements sort of being split away. Um, they didn't necessarily need someone to split it, or maybe it was like the first Dragon Sovereign who did it. Let me see. Heavenly Principles, like a beam of light. Yeah, it's described as the most pure, just like a beam of light that can be split into 7 colors. It is the light before dispersion takes place. It can be considered synonymous with the phenomenon of Kubaki, as it is also the power of the light realm. So you can think of phlogiston and Kubaki as basically like the same thing, which means like Columbina basically used the power of the light realm. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Which basically technically means she used the power of all the elements, technically. Very cool. So blah blah blah. Light realm. Bishops are not considered elemental life realms. Okay, that's fine. I think the seal was always there, born alongside Tivat and Nibelung. It's just that Nibelung used parts of it to assert control while he left. The seal was always there. What do you mean by the seal? He ended up using a more surface level control rather than the deeper underlying control mechanisms. The pattern. Oh, you mean like this pattern? The seal is the pattern. Oh, okay, okay, okay. The what's it called? The seal of chemical marriage. Seal of chemical marriage. That's what it's called. The Sokum. It's a very bad acronym. We gotta think of something better here. But I mean, isn't there like a there's probably like a legit seal that this is based on. It's like these are like based on like the old alchemical symbols that I think even Full Metal Alchemist would have used. So something like based on that, like the Genshin Wiki should have probably found like a found like the etymology of this already. Projecting the seal of chemical marriage onto Fontaine. Look at this. Lamau. So that's how like they were able like the Alain and his was able to like try and reconstruct this formula. Let's just call it the seal, same number of letters. Kabbalah. The problem with the word seal though is that it has too many meanings in English. Like in this case we're using the word seal as in like a symbol, right? Or like more of like like a symbolic type of word seal. Seal can also mean an animal. It can also mean to lock. Uh there's an animal called the seal. But it does get confusing at certain point. That's why I don't like the word seal very much. It's too confusing in the English. It's definitely less confusing in other languages. Um, but it looks like it's basically just taken from like very similar to like the Kabbalah as well, like from like the Jewish thing, which is like, well, I guess not just Jewish, but um, they just like rearranged the nodes a little bit and called it this cosmological esoteric thing. Thanks for sharing, Rashi. The I think at the end of the day, like I'm not even sure if they're even going to bother explaining this. Like it's probably like too far out to have like it's probably too far out for them to be able to like connect it all the way back to like the actual story and like what as Varka would say, you guys can just skip the lore. Varka would just like just skip this lore. Like you guys the it would have made sense to me. I would say like if maybe albedo. I think it's gonna be explained way down the line, but not directly. Yeah, I think even if they explain it, it's not gonna be explained directly at all. Like I can see like this whole like alchemical thing, like connecting all the different points, and maybe everything lights out, and then albedo and Ryan Daughter do some like big explosion thing, and then like, oh, this is how it all connects, and these are all the different positions on Tevat where like we needed these points, and all the shades needed to stand here, or like I don't know, like we're on the fourth cycle, and something something like when we activated this magical ritual, like the Hexen Circle maybe comes in, maybe the Hexen Circle, or like like putting some of these points on the ground. um I could see like some of that coming to play, like making it look cool. And, oh, it matches the pattern, but that's like the extent. Like I think they'll go like, oh, the pattern matches. That means like we can do stuff. Like they probably won't go too deep into like what all these like like esoteric terms mean. Um, I mean also because these, if you really think about it, right? Like if you really think about it, these are all like just stuff that they borrowed from like mysticism and like um other resources that are basically also things that people just cooked up long time ago. Like it's the same thing. It's people literally just made this up, like and like, oh, drew lines around them and it looks cool in the graph, like like we all know this is not actually how the world operates, right? Like let's just put it out there. This is not like actually how the world operates. This is just our random lines some people drew in nodes and like stuck in there a long time ago. Um, and then like Genshin took Hoyo took and like put little dots and like stuff in there and put together, and like, oh, there's like four and like three. I like the four and three, and then combining 3 plus 4 equals 7. I think that's cool. It would be cooler if like each of them actually had elements though. But we'll see though. It could be the fact that maybe Ryan Daughter is probably Geo-ish. It's kind of Geo-ish. Maybe Ronova being deaf is like Pyro. You know. Too bad the moons no longer exist, so it's just Columbina and her Hydronus in there at the end of the day. So actually now we don't have 7 anymore. We only have 5. Sad. Um, but who knows? Maybe she's Tri-Lune. She counts as 3. Uh, Time is probably gonna be a Nemo-ish, I want to say, and then space is gonna be. I don't know. Space is gonna be weird. I don't know. I don't know which element you would put in space. Now that I'm thinking about it, time I can see a Nemo because of the connection to Venti, right? But can't really see one for space for Asmodai. Hmm. Yeah, Asmodai might be a bit difficult to put an element on. Maybe that's why she's missing. She doesn't have an element. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like this is the map, right? And they need 4 shades. One of the shades is right now missing, right? So that's why like Tevat's not quite working right now. One of the shades is just missing. Like he's not doing your job. Like straight up. Like wait a sec. That's why things are unstable. There's like unstableness in the borders and things like that, right? So check 640. It brings up the issue with HP versus PO right now. Oh wait, this is the same guy. Wait. I remember this guy. Hold on. This guy's voice sounds familiar. Hold on. This guy sounds familiar. Hold on. Uh, it's our friend again. What is this Star Rail character that's pronouncing random stuff? I guess we do have subtitles. I turned on the volume for you guys. Oh, so Nibelung was the first one. Okay. So Nibelung might have been the one. Depends. Hanria. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, my son's gonna die. Sounds very familiar. Okay. Makes sense. It's like now you can think of like Light Realm, and you can think of like Light Realm and the Abyss, kind of like the like when stars die, they lose like their light, but also become a black hole, right? After a supernova, you can kind of think of it like that, like the light and the abyss. I can see that kind of parallel coming into play. The Skirk tieback is actually really interesting. Oh yeah, wait, sorry. This guy is the one who also like puts a bunch of text um at the top without actually talking about it. I think there's just a voice line, right? Though I think that's just a voice line, right? When she talks about the cryo. Oh, okay. So she talks about the the big freeze. Well, it's okay. Yes, her alt. Yeah, I've seen Lightless entering through star clusters, so it's the same thing. See how the cold tide of chaos drowns out sounds. Okay, because like space is cold, so like I guess Squirt using cryo makes sense? Question mark. Um, it's probably just like one interpretation of it, really. I'm pretty sure to create more space characters that maybe give us other elements as well. So I wouldn't be beholden to like only like it can't be like the characters from space only can use cryo, right? So I'm pretty sure we'll get more people like Skirk. Maybe even Surge the Logi. But you want to escape. But he didn't answer his question. Now, it has to do with the worldview and how he's kind of nihilistic. The stars going out because big freeze or you won't freeze is cryo. Oh yeah, freeze is not just cryo. Freeze is actually hydro plus cryo. Let's just be a bit more specific here. Other characters outside of Teyvat don't have to share the same sentiment. Nerd. It's true. Actually, a freeze is cryo plus hydro. Excuse me. Excuse me. QED. That's freeze. Cryo is just being cold and I don't know why it also slows down your movement speed for some reason. Like it's just so bad. Like I don't know why Cryo Aura is the only special aura that actually does anything else other than apply a Cryo Aura on you. Like all the other ones, I know like Hydro you just get wet, right? Pyro you just get pyroed, but Cryo is literally the only one. If you're affected by Cryo, you actually slow down. Like your movement speed is like decreased. Like that's like huh? Ever been out in -40? You've been sluggish. Well, ever been out in 120? You also get sluggish. In fact, you probably might have been burned to a crisp. Um. Anyway. Also, why is Diluc here? Oh wait. Yeah. Now we can actually see like how close these designs were to the actual goddesses, and I think it's pretty. This is Sonnet, right? This has to be Sonnet. But then the other two had long hair too. Oh wait, I guess maybe Canon had shorter hair, but this doesn't look quite right though. Like her hair wasn't like this. So these guys got the murals wrong. Whoever drew these murals just got it wrong. These moons things though were correct. I think these moon things were correct. Not that close. Both had veils. Yeah, they both had veils, and also like the hairstyle was wrong. This I don't think there was a hairstyle like this, right? Canon had like a more like Liyue type of hairstyle. And this one maybe I guess this is the hair. This one might be like the second sister, but this one looks like the younger sister, Sonnet. So yeah, I guess close enough. I guess. But I will say it's so nice that we can finally like talk about the moon goddesses like we actually know them. Like it's nice that they actually gave us their characters, and not just put more lore about Ariel, Sonnet, and Canon in books. And the reason this is like super important is that it actually makes the lore feel real. Like it makes the lore feel real to a lot more people than just having to read in the book. So they should do that a lot more often. Like whenever something's mentioned in the lore, make it a cutscene, make it like have a character there. That's gonna like really draw people to the lore a lot more. But I guess we will get Lunar Chariot lore later. Is that true? Well, here's a question, right? So they keep talking about this calamity that's gonna happen if like Nibelung doesn't do anything. But whether or not Nibelung like leaves or whatever, like that calamity that the Voyager predicts is still gonna happen, right? So even if Nibelung doesn't address it, like Heavenly Principles has to. So it's possible that Heavenly Principles institutes like parts of like the like if we go back to the I don't I guess I have to call it the seal now. The the seal of the seal of stuff. Let's go back to the seal of stuff for a quick second here. Where I need why is it not coming up? Did I put it here? Okay. So let's quickly go back to the seal, right? Like it could be like the fact like he created the shades to like assert the power, but he also has to like fix it. Like he still has to like like deal with this problem of the whole like sun exploding, and or also why Monster and Leo have so much moon lore. Mond is moon in German too. Yeah, Mond is moon in German. That is true. Mondo and Liyue is also like Yue and Liyue is moon as well. Um, I think HP found a way to deal with the abyss when they use the eggshell to protect it. I would consider think we're doing a damn well job on humans, like keep finding ways to tear it open. Yeah, but this eggshell though, right? How is this eggshell maintained, right? And Charity is dying, but like my guess actually is that you know these these cycles. My guess is these cycles are also part of generating the energy that's needed to power the eggshell. You can see this is the eggshell, right? This circle thing, this false sky that protects the because we're thinking of these four at the bottom as like Tibat. This little circle thing, it's kind of like the false sky or like the protective barrier, whatever you want to call it, the firmament that protects the rest of Tivat from like outside influences. The fact that it says stay hidden from the rest of the universe says something too. I think Nicole said the world is ever getting an idiot to notice due to disturbance of the world's borders. Yeah, exactly. So this circle is called like this protective barrier, and the border serves to like mean that, how do I put it? If they don't see you, they can't destroy you, right? So it's kind of like an invisible veil. Or if you can think about it in a different way, there is technically a way that you can create a barrier such that if it projects what you would see on the other side of it, you could render Tibat essentially invisible. And that might just be what the firmament is doing, or like the false sky is doing. It's maybe we can actually see out of it. So like maybe in the scene with Columbina, when you're going up to the moon, maybe you're actually seeing the real universe, but the real universe maybe can't actually see Tibat, which makes sense. From this like protective standpoint. So it's possible that um this cycle thing might not even have like existed before like the shades came into play. Like parts of this may have been like constructed in time. Like we know the moons were here, right? And maybe like parts of this was here, but maybe not this like circle. Maybe it was cycle 1 and 2, maybe 3 and 4 hadn't been made yet. True. So it's like we know the moons. We know at the start there were the three moons, right? That was created, and we know that the shades were created after. The cycles could have been created after that as well, or it could have had more cycles or less cycles, and then somehow tweaked, or like this barrier was created later on as well. So those pieces like we don't know yet, but probably when we get to know more about the shades and how they were affecting like the engine of Tivat, we'll get a more like closer hint of like how this was set up. And my guess is that the way this is set up is supposed to be like protective for Tivat, right? It's supposed to protect Tivat in a way that like stops people from seeing it, but also to keep abyss stuff out of it. Tweaked and constrained of 4 cycles, yeah. Whether it's 4 or maybe it used to be 5, or maybe there was only 1 cycle. It's possible like there weren't even cycles. Like maybe it was just one circle, right? Um, and maybe the cycles were meant to reset Tebat. So like maybe maybe towards the end of the fourth cycle things are gonna break, right? But then there's a hard reset, and then Tebat goes back to being protected again. That is also possible. How could HP have predicted 4 cycles, and why is it each cycle that destroys the each cycle that destroys the nation is really advanced? I think the cycles of Hyperborea, Natlan, T, Remuria, and Crown area. Um, I mean, if you think of like a cycle, like a civilization cycle, right? It's kind of like the civilization's rise and fall kind of thing. So I don't think that's something that he needs to predict, right? He just needs to generate it in the lore. Um, as long as he like sets up the rules such that um, so at the start it's like okay, you allow civilization to rise, blah 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 blah. But then there's a rule that triggers and says like, okay, you can't rise so much because otherwise you try to break the false sky. So we're just gonna like destroy you or something. There's gonna be like something, some fate, some prophecy, and this happens like all every time, right? There's like some prophecy or some fate that's the rule and that will cause the civilization to decline. That starts the next cycle. New civilization comes up, boom, blah, gets flattened. Next cycle goes up, and maybe after 4 cycles, it's like, hey, people are catching on that there's a cycle. So now we need to do a hard reset, or wipe the memory, right? Let's start all over anew and go back to cycle 1. So maybe the 4 cycles were just how he decided to set it up. That maybe after 4, it's like people are like, wait a sec, we're in samsara now. We're gonna try to like break the cycle instead of actually just trying to break the false sky, which is not as bad as like try to break the whole cycle engine completely. So maybe 4 was just sort of like how he decided how he's started out as. The interaction of the descenders though, I think is still like the an interesting piece that we haven't like totally explored yet. I'm a bit worried about how they're going to insert descenders in here, right? Descenders from my point of view, just you can just think of it a bit more like whoever just comes from the sky. I don't know if it's actually going to play into this, like whether that's whether the 4 cycles correspond to like 4 descenders for some reason, because 4 4. Don't know why everything is all 4. Not really. Skirk isn't a descender yet. Yeah, exactly. Skirk isn't a descender yet, even though she's not from here. So I'm like, maybe there's a bit more to being a descender, where like the descenders were not just, um, you know, it's not just like they came from somewhere else, but maybe like they have to influence Tevat in like a very specific way, which may have been defined here with this schema, this image, or actually, watch a video. He mentioned this and makes a point of it. Okay, we're gonna continue the video. Hold up. Where's video? Give me video. Okay, conjecture. Okay. Lol. Okay. Seems like this was a primordial human project, right? Okay. We'll get it. Oh no, he spelled Sophia wrongly. It's spelled Sophia here. Uh oh. Uh oh. Someone tell him. Sophia. Soapy. Okay, I don't get the Star Wars references, unfortunately. This guy is pulling from lore that I have no reference about, so I can't comment here. Take that away from the rest of the universe. Ah, I see. Hmm. So I think it sounds like he sort of says that they're probably the same one, right? They just have different characteristics, and that's the reason why people think they're different. I can get his point. Like, yeah, I can see why. But this was kind of like the my original thought, right? Like Heavenly Principles could have changed his character. So I mean, this kind of ties into what I was thinking. They both came from the Eternal Throne, yeah. So like the idea in the at least the Abrahamic religions is that the Abrahamic religions, no, specifically the Christian religion, is that God is still like one, but there's like the Father and like the Son. But in this case specifically, like there's like a bit of a distinction between like the Old and the New Testament because apparently like the Old Testament God was like, oh, really really mean and like kill people, and like New Testament God apparently is all loving and stuff, um, which is entirely like a which is first of all is an entire is an entirely watered down interpretation of what's going on here. But more importantly, like the connection to this is that it's the same one. It's the same person. Like they both came from there, but it's actually like the same entity. Like the is what it sounds like he's going for here. So even even though it sounds like they are completely different gods, they actually like are basically the same entity. No, I think that makes sense. Like they're still like at the same point, like they're still an entity. This icon is like not helping. It's cool. Cool. Hyposelenius plan. Water dragon. Loss is cool. Load everyone on his throne. Okay, sure. Or just got corrupted on its own. Yep. Even Skirk says that you can use the abyss. Lol. This video is before the last update, by the way. Okay. Decided to stay dead. Decided to stay dead. It's like, bro, I'll just stay dead, guys. I don't need to be revived. We good. We good here. Lead mode. Heavenly Principles is secretly Lynette. Sleep mode on. That land. Fate is very simple to explain. Lul. Where's the rule of space? Rule of space? Question mark? Disappeared? Nani? Empty space within the page's dense. White space. Erasing oldest data. Oh oh. Whoa oh. Whoa oh. Gotta upgrade your storage. She now he question mark. Your granddaughter and Albedo found it? Fire the angel. Not sure about Albedo. Yeah, how come Albedo was there? Was he born? Wait a sec. I guess it was kind of recent, but like, was he there? Would he know? Well, this is the explanation from the earlier explanation that like the celestial nails destroyed the like were to like control the abyss and to like stop it from leaking out. But that's not how the moon goddesses saw it. The moon goddesses saw the celestial nails as they were like was basically like punishing the civilizations for creating or like like using abyssal powers, I guess, or like allowing abyss to like maybe come through or something. So it's a little bit different from once now that we have the new information from the moon goddesses. um, it's less so that the heavenly principles had no choice but to use the celestial nails, because that was how I was originally thinking about it. Like they had no choice but to use the celestial nails. Like they were still nice folks, right? But to control the abyss, I guess we have to sacrifice some civilizations in the process. That's fine. I'm like, sorry guys, but you guys just gotta die because you gotta control the situation. But that's not the case. Like the moon goddesses came out and said like basically like heavenly principles wanted to punish those civilizations and so like destroyed them. So yeah. He was born but he wasn't there, I don't think. Remember the only Tony last effect is became a shade. The funniest one is the one that bonked AFAB. Bonk. What you can blame one for like the exploration in Sumeru being so terrible. Lol. Do the nails actually have power, or are they just like there now that they've already like been sent down? Yeah, purification power thing. Oh, I see. Do they still have it, or has it all been used up? I guess that's my main question. Cycles. So a descender happens every cycle. Makes sense. Now this is a non-descender pair. I mean, it had to be designed perfectly to neutralize the abyss. I guess maybe some were used up and some weren't. Things like all work, so we can assume they are all working. Didn't just give out. But some of them seems like they got used up, right? I Yeah, the fact that Skirk isn't a center here is just kind of sus. It's like they had to like create an exception just for her. Like, come on, guys, just use a different word. So we were thinking third descender is like Tsaritsa's lover, right? Who like later became the Gnosis. Lol. More secrets. I don't think this guy shared the same. Oh, is it? Bakasuko in Peerless Beauty is Saritsa, right? But what? Bakisuko is the Bell Yitzhar. Oh yeah, yeah. Bakisuko is the Bell Yitzhar, and then the daughter is the one that's the Saritsa. Yep. Did his daughter have a name? Didn't they name the daughter? Maybe they didn't name the daughter yet. But this guy says it's not the Bell Yitzhar. So Piero. So this guy's argument is that the time hadn't started. His argument is that because like he should have started it a lot earlier than like later. That could be like a million reasons for why she didn't start earlier. Like right, like there's things like maybe it wasn't even possible to get her the nurses back then. Maybe she didn't have a plan back then. Maybe she wasn't powerful enough back then. There are a lot of reasons why she might not have started earlier. I could think of like a million different reasons. So I don't think that's like a I don't think that's a point that he should be stuck on, to be honest. Just because there's a bit of a time gap. Like sure, it's 3,000 years, but like Sarisa probably wasn't always like that powerful like to begin with, right? And like in order to defy the heavenly principles, you probably need like a pretty big plan too. Like it's not like something you can just snap on a whim, get it. Maybe she did start earlier and just wasn't successful doing it. That's also possible. Um, like maybe she's maybe at the start like she was like trying to beg all the other archons, hey, give me your noses. Like nope. And it's like I guess I can't have it. Yeah, like there's probably a lot of ways you could you could think about that could might explain why she might not have started earlier. Um, or maybe she did start earlier, but it wasn't successful at it. So Wait, what? Did he just say someone wrote Zibai? Wait, what? Did he just suggest that someone was writing Zibai? Hold up. Hold up. We're taking the Uma Musume a bit too far here, guys. She's a Uma Musume. Uh, th- the Chinese basically says like Yuan Chu the Nai Wei, which is a very general word for the one who came first, right? So if they're being vague, they're just being vague about it. I still don't know why it's called Nibelung in the English, but it's clearly Nibelungen in the Japanese. Your secret's out. Your secret is out. He said probability, but he typed possibility. May or may not be the shades. Wait, so he says that there are three because one of them is missing. And wait, what? Hypothalamus is not the fourth moon, right? She's the combination of all three moons. That's number one. Asmodee being missing is just being sus. Although I would say like um Asmodee being missing could be the source of explaining why there's a lot of like instability in Tibet right now. It's probably because she's not using her space powers properly to keep out the Abyss. So that's why Abyss has been encroaching. So well, that power looks familiar to the Fate Sky, so yeah, exactly. So it's probably her fault, everything bad's happening. Just blame Asmodee. What you doing, Asmodee? Get back here. Why you do this? Bro, is he saying the clouds don't move? Like the clouds are just always around Cisnaya? Okay. Is this night? Is this night? This is a dark castle, but this is not night. When there's like a big bright window. Is this night? Like I don't know if this is night, sir. Maybe it's like the big fire that they're talking about is this Naya, right? At the end of the cutscene, they talk about like a big fire where Naya has like a right. All right, I think that's it, right? All right, that's it. Yeah, I mean overall, I feel like I mean, make some good points, some interesting points. There are definitely some places it's a bit sus, but overall, it's an interesting watch. I definitely still think Saritsa is very involved in that, like the Paikusuko being the belly star and stuff. I think that still should be probably accurate. I do need my Saritsa, to be the peerless beauty, right? She has to be the peerless beauty. There's no alternative there. So we're gonna go with that explanation. Only Madame Herta can be? Oh my gosh, Madame Herta. Who hurt her? Who hurt her? Oof. Um, ain't no way. Alright, we're gonna end this by bullying a couple of folks in TCG. I mean, but overall, I thought the Archon quest was really good. And there were definitely like certain flaws. I don't know, Brushy, if you had like any like issues with the Archon quest itself, but I think overall it was good. There were a lot of um, there were a lot of really good beats it hit, and even though there were definitely places where I thought like the certain lore parts could have been better explained or like better resolved toward the end. There was just quite a few things that were just not really completely tied up by the end of it, which left some like further questions. Um, but besides that, like it did hit a lot of like the good emotional notes that it needed to hit. So like overall, I thought it would have been considered pretty good. Yeah, let's see. This one actually, now that I think about it, I think I can burst here. All right, I can burst here. I think it's pretty funny. There were definitely some parts where it wasn't so clearly explained, like the whole Sandro stuff. But I think like the thing that was most well done was the moon goddess explanation. I think that one went over really well. It was really clear, and it made a lot of sense, and it tied like basically all the parts of the acts together, which I think was like the main sort of drawing point of that Archon quest. There was a lot of just random talking again. We didn't get to see Varka in battle, which is very unfortunate. Like I don't know why Varka just always keeps getting like sidelined. Like, oh yeah, you just take care of folks. I'm like, come on. I mean, at least in the end, he pulls down the moon, right, together with Arlecchino. But we didn't get to like use him in battle or anything like that. It's kind of sus. The oh, he actually froze me. But we did get Nicole being a bit more active, and it does feel like Nicole is gonna be a support character. So we'll see. We'll see if that turns out to be true. Let's see here. Cryodendro. Oh, okay, this is good. Oh, Skirk has like a random bar here. I don't know what this does. Reason beyond reason. I think it's this one. Serpent subtlety. Okay, okay. There's 2 points of serpent subtlety right now.
安らかに。しばし待て。
Because these two are gonna go, I might wanna go the Watana's Yamka at this point, but I do have a quick swap if we want to do that, so but he's ending the round, though I do get a turn advantage if I swap over to Yamka right away first. Or I can swap over to Raiden and tank. This is 2 damage. I think that makes sense. We can swap over to Raiden. Tank the damage on Raiden. Yeah, having 1 HP on Raiden is actually perfect here. The whole bringing Divinity back to the human world to the Kabbalah thing sure makes sense, but I'll never get over the spherical Tibat and the moon being outside the skies. Wait, so are you still flat Tibat? Are you still in the flat Tibat camp? Even all these, after all this time, you're still on flat Tibat. We got gamblers too. It's nice. He has no choice but to do something. He's gonna hit me. So that will allow me to use Haven't Lost Yet. Brushy said a bad word. Tsubai. Oh, this guy is actually already dead without not me even doing much. Okay. I'm gonna equip Gamblers then. Whoop! Kaboom! Kaboomed! Is he gonna swap or is he gonna let me destroy him? Oh, he's gonna let me destroy him. Okay. We can just normal here actually to destroy him. Okay. Okay. I think he's dead. Yeah, he did. Bro's ditch. Because I get energy from that on my other character too, which allows me to use burst. Bye bye. Get out of here. Get out of here. Sup? How was Monday? Monday, good day. MLK day, no work. We doing good. XDD. It's cool you could see the dark seas. Yeah, well I guess like space, I guess. Dark seas being space. So yeah. Lucky I went to work. Did you get overtime pay at least? Hopefully. Isn't it a holiday? I guess it might not be a holiday for everyone. F no, Luke. Not like this. Not like this. No, the dark side of the Tibet. Oh, you mean like just the dark side of Tibet. I see, I see. Was that really the dark side? Or I guess was it just not lit up in this point in time? That's the thing though, like we've always thought like it was gonna be a disc, but like now that we've already seen and confirmed it was spherical, or hemispherical copium, you know, like I don't know, like the dank side. Michael about ML. How can it's MLK though? How can you not care about MLK? Yo. Man, I really didn't get any good dice here, did I? Like, not a single electro die? Okay, finally got it. Sumi ga sugunau ga ii. I mean, I care, but like my company don't. Not like this. Not like this. Why company do this? This deck is kind of insane, like being able to use burst on Raiden on first turn. It's just a bit broken. Just a little bit broken. Oh? Oh, he's gonna transfer that to Vanarana. That's fine, you can hit my Raiden as much as you want. Although Cloran does have quite a lot of Lincoln, hey, welcome bro, congrats on your C6 Columbina. Thank you so much. Yeah, we got our C6 Columbina. Easy. We got it in 0 pulls. Like, we were so good, we got it in 0 pulls. It was amazing. Like, it's like I opened the wish screen and Columbina just appeared like 6 times. Like, it was insane. Insane plays. Should have seen it. Should have been there to witness the glorious return of CC Columbina. I hope you're doing alright. Maybe I'll just use this since he's all like bloop bloop. Bit scary though. Not like I have good. Yeah, I don't have really good ways to like do much here either. Let's see. I probably going to use normals quite a bit. But I don't have a lot of good cards now. Unfortunately. Okay. B. I think we can just hit one more time. It's the best we can do, I think. Just forcing to be scared of by Raiden's burst. Pull, 0 pull, damn! Can't wait for the YouTube bit, exactly. It's gonna last a total of 0 seconds. I'll post a 0-second YouTube bit with like 0 pulls for my C6 Columbina. At least he's kind of smart enough to like swap over to a different character here. His Claw Ren's gonna carry him with those stacks. It would be nice if my Raiden actually had like an ability to use here though. Alrighty, let's see what we can do here. I think we go on this guy first. He has fast swap, which is a bit scary. But I am pretty strong here. So ooh, do we want to like... That's very close actually. How much does this go? +2 elemental skill. No, that's not enough. I do need this, but it feels a bit bad. I mean, he has fast swap anyway, so like kind of doesn't matter what he does here. But I kind of want to take him out. There we go.
早く幕を下ろして。無意味な抵抗。
Yeah, I don't have much energy here to do much else. He can probably swap. I don't think he has enough dice to do an additional, so... He does 8 on his burst though. I'm gonna swap here. He does 8 on his like Sino. I'm not gonna give him that 8 damage.
雷鳴が止んでしまい。
I have some good cards here, but is it enough? Is the question. Let's see, let's see. This one does take him out, right? So I can first equip this. Oh, nice. Okay. We got burst too, so we can use either burst or skill here to finish her off. I don't think she has that much damage, right? She does E capped at 4 points. Remove all stacks, deal extra damage and heal yourself. I think it's this one. You need 3 stacks, right, to do a bunch of damage. Oh, that's a lot of healing actually. Okay. Might have to think here. Oh wait, this is 3, right? Okay, I think that's perfect then. Just enough. We got it. Even with him healing 4 HP. Got him. Easy. This is a very good Yamka deck that has like easy burst. Oh, okay, I did actually spend my coins in advance this time, so I didn't waste my. That's one time I did this, and then I forgot that I was capped out, and I was like, "Why am I even capped out, like guys? Why do they make me? Why do they make this cap out at 20k? Come on, guys, come on." It doesn't make any sense that this is capped out at 20k, especially when there are things that cost 8k coins. Bona and Coco Week? What? They really want us to use adventure decks. Broken Sea as well. Interesting. And I guess we can purchase new skins now that we're using like a weird deck. I can only purchase one of them though. Ooh, Consecrated Horn, Crocodile, Skirk, and Auroron. Let's go. Bona and Coco Week. I think we'll get the character cards first. So I got this guy, Raiden Shogun, and I need one for our Frost Operative since I use them. Alright, spent my coins. Oh, and we have to do like some of these challenges at some point too. Clever stratagems again. We are back here. Alright guys, we are probably gonna call it here for today. Not a super long stream because we do our work tomorrow, but I do appreciate y'all being here. We'll be back again next week. This was just kind of like a bonus stream anyway for like it being a Monday. Good night, have fun, GWP. Alright, thanks, Brushy. I'm gonna get myself some dinner. Y'all take care. And have a good night. And I'll see y'all next week. Oh wait, we're not raiding. Why did I type the raid message? I don't think there's anyone raidy right now. But yeah. Take care, guys. Have fun. Stay safe. And we'll be back next week. I think next week we'll plan to maybe do some of the world quests. I don't think all the world quests in the new era are voiced, right? Only like the meeting point ones are, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw like most of the world Iluga quests are actually not voiced. So we can actually do them on stream normally. And then I think it's only the meeting points that we'll have to record. Oh wait, I forgot. There is one thing we have to do. There is one thing we have to do, guys. Hold up. There is one thing. And guess what? His chronicle is voice. Oh, is there a chronicle? Chronicle as in like the Chronicle as in like the meeting point stuff, or is there like a? Cause I saw like some parts of the world quest ones were not actually voiced, so I wasn't sure which ones were, which ones weren't. So we'll have to see which ones are or not.
こういう天気こそ行動に
But
適してい
guess
るの
what?
だ
Because Columbina is back, we can finally continue our Selenic Chronicles. We'll do a quick recording of this. I don't even remember where we stopped at the Selenic Chronicles, so I'm just gonna have to see where we are at. Alright, so I'll mute myself.
ちょっとピッチが高いかも。もう一回やってみて。よっ、コロンビーナ。あれ？もしかして月齢に楽器を教えてるのか？うん。この前修理してもらった後、毎日嬉しそうにせがんでくるから。でも、実は私もあんまりうまく弾けないの。他の人が弾いてるところを見てただけだから。まあ、でもそんなイメージだよな。コロンビーナが楽隊にいたとしたら、歌を歌ってるとこしか想像できないぜ。あ、楽器ならこいつが結構得意だぞ。モンドのライアーもナタのジャンベもお任せだ。そう？じゃあ、君がこの子たちに教えてみて。今は、最近私がいつも歌ってる曲を練習してるの。メロディーは覚えてる？それか、君の得意な曲でもいいよ。この子たちに、他の国の曲を聴かせてあげられる機会はあんまりないし、私も聴いてみたい。 手だ
素敵。私がよく歌ってるメロディー覚えてくれたんだね。
ひひお前の歌は上手だからな。たまにこっそり聞いてるんだ。
月齢もうっとりしてるみたい。ちゃんとお手本を覚えてくれたかな。また教えてもらうかも。手を出して。
おいらたちボランティアでやってるから授業料はいらないぞ。
授業料？私はただ綺麗なメロディーには美しい月光が合うって思っただけ。この子たち満足したみたい。でもまた教えてってお願いするかも。
Alrighty, now we're going. It looks like we still have like a long way to go. There's still like part 3. Still got a long way to go, but we'll get there. This weekly time-gated thing. Alright. Appreciate y'all being here. We'll be back again next week. Alright, take care, y'all. Bye-bye.